right. Welcome to a slightly delayed fireside chat. Luckily for us, we do not understand any of the technical difficulties that go on. We just sort of stomp our feet and go, tech team! So hopefully it's all gone. We are trying something new, so there is going to be a bit of a teething process. But we are with you, and welcome to Sunday's Fireside Chat.
Yes, and what a beautiful evening it is. Especially with the prospect of a lioness wandering around somewhere, quite possibly somewhere behind us.
That's why I have my torch, and every now and then you'll notice I'll be just checking. Oh, our alarm system left.
Oh, no.
There was an impala behind us who were hoping it was going to act as our alarm system. But don't worry, we have some people behind who will hopefully be checking. And if you see a lion behind me, please let me know.
Please let us know.
It's something I want to know.
You can do that on the comments on the Facebook video.
Yes. So we are sitting on quarantine. Quarantine is a big open clearing just behind the Vuyatela and Gallagher lodges. Now, it's a very strange name to have out in the bush. Quarantine, and do you know why it's called quarantine, Jamie?
Wow, I imagined animals were quarantined here.
Very correct. So in the late 50s or 40s, when this was a cattle farming area, this was an area that was cleared to quarantine cattle in. Of course, it is now the home to a plethora of wild animals, so no more cows on quarantine.
No, otherwise they're very lost.
Yes,
and probably in trouble.
We've had a very exciting week, and one sighting stands out for me in particular.
I can't imagine what that could be.
And I'm going to let Jamie tell you what. Jamie, what did Dave and I see on drive?
A pangolin. Apparently you saw a pangolin.
Well, apparently we did, and we do have a little bit of proof. So let's just have a look at a quick clip of the first ever pangolin sighting on Safari Live. It's a pangolin! The first pangolin ever on Safari Live! And it's just crossed the road into Kruger. We're going to try and get a better view. Isn't that incredible? Look at that, a pangolin! Isn't this exciting? He's just laid down. This is my first pangolin in the Northern Sabi Sands. Look at him. Look at those armor plates. Now, if you get your finger stuck in there, it can actually cut you. Look at him. So, these short grass areas are home to the pugnacious ant. And 98% of a pangolin's diet is a pugnacious ant. Dave, well spotted.
Thanks, Brent.
Isn't that just super exciting? I got so excited I didn't even take a picture. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry, I got it.
No, we got it on video. Otherwise, no one would believe us. But isn't that amazing? And that's just shows you, you never know what we're going to see out here. Well, wasn't that thrilling? It wasn't the best pangolin sighting, but a pangolin is a pangolin. It is not something you see very often here in the bush. And that's my first one in a year and 3 months in the Northern Sabi Sands.
That's not bad at all. And I think that you could probably gauge Brent's excitement in that sighting by the pitch of his voice, which almost reached points that maybe dogs wouldn't even have been able to hear him.
Yes, well, it wasn't very manly now, was it? But I was very, very excited and very happy to be able to share.
It's okay. I did that with a wildcat.
There we go. See, I'm not the only one. But very excited to be able to share that with you guys, and a complete first, and an incredibly different little animal. I mean, evolved on such a different scale, with scales almost, but those armored plating is keratin, so they're made up of hair, the same as our hair, or a rhino horn, or a kudu's horn.
Basically like little walking artichokes is what they look like.
Yes, that's a very good way to describe it.
With the shape of those scales.
And Final Control got a bit confused during that as well.
Yes, Final Control asked me for a link, but the combination of radio comms, I was on Arethusa with an elephant, and the combination of radio comms, I just heard armadillo. I thought maybe it was an armored reptile of some kind.
An armored plated lizard.
No, the armadillo was a new one.
Now, we're not in Arizona or Texas or Central America where the armadillo live. I would love to see an armadillo one day, but yeah, definitely quite interesting in terms of evolution, how they're not quite the same in terms of their body structure, but they have this is the word that always gets me. Convergent, thank you.
Yes.
Convergent evolution. So they live in completely separate continents, but they've evolved a very similar defense strategy.
It's incredible. Yeah. No, well, I think that was a very exciting sighting. I did take Dave onto Cheetah Plains the next day, and I told him that if he didn't find a pangolin for me, then it was just pure favoritism, and he didn't. Well, I think we know exactly what that means.
Well, and Dave was actually the one who spotted it, so well done to Dave, who's behind camera on this Fireside chat. Now, a very important day in the history of our country, or specifically the wildlife industry in our country, and I'm going to let Jamie tell you a little more about that.
Well, we find ourselves this year on the 90th birthday, or celebrating the 90th birthday of the Kruger National Park. It's a bit more complex than that because, of course, Kruger National Park kind of existed before that, started towards the late 1800s, where it was the Sabi Game Reserve.
Well, there was two, actually.
There were two, yes. Yeah. There were two different reserves, and then slowly gathered together additional farms, additional bits of property. And it is such an integral part of our country's history that played a role in the formation of the Kruger National Park and the way in which it was formed. And we sit with it today, 90 years later, as a pristine, well, almost, I mean, we call it a pristine wilderness area that has now reached 4 million hectares, essentially, of unfenced wilderness area. Now, the animals that you're seeing have a 4 million hectare playground in which to play. And not only that, it's actually a wilderness area that is open to people from around the world to come and explore on their own terms. And that is a very, very special thing. And it's a very crucial part in the conservation of the way in which the animals will be protected and the fauna and the flora.
It is. It's amazing that people are just able to drive themselves around. Now, the most important little bit of the forming of the Kruger is the central person. So there was a northern reserve, Shingwedzi, and then the Sabi Reserve, which is around Skakuza. And the huge swathe of land between those two reserves was donated by one lady. Do you remember her name? We talked about this the other day.
The other day, it was months ago.
Oh, well, it felt like the other day.
It was when we went to the Kruger, and her name was... No, it's gone.
Eileen Orpin. So from Orpin Gate, the entrance to the Kruger, and she's donated that huge swathe of land. But now we've got a little clip. It's not quite about the Kruger, but since it's Kruger's birthday, we're going to celebrate a birth James experienced on Live Drive.
Is that right? Everybody, there's a zebra giving birth there. There's a zebra giving birth. This is a zebra giving birth. Oh my God, look at that. There's it comes, it's coming out. Look at that little zebra about to be born. There's the head. Oh, you clever mare, well done. It's born, everyone, it's born and it's alive and it looks fine. And it will struggle to get that amniotic sac off. She looks like she might be about to stand up. She's nudging it to try and make it stand. The tenderness and perfection of motherhood. Look at that. There we go. That's totally normal. She'll wait for the afterbirth, of course. It's standing, but it's teetering, wobbling but just exactly like you've seen videos of a foal.
This was, of course, an unusual sighting. Normally, herbivores like impala and wildebeest and zebra will give birth during the middle of the day. But as this little foal took its first steps, the dying embers of the day had just gone over the western horizon. This is why we didn't light up the sighting, of course. It may have compromised the zebra's eyes and at the same time attracted hyenas and lions to the activity.
What is so magical about that particular sighting, and I think how it ties into our conversation about 90 years worth of history, is that is 90 years worth of animal life cycles rolling through the days, their little tragedies and triumphs. And we got to capture, or at least James got to capture, and Dave, it was Dave who was filming it.
Dave's been quite lucky recently.
He has. Capture a moment that is like just that little special piece of the whole lives of the African animals. It's a very special moment to be able to share that with you in real time. Monique in London, speaking of Dave's luck and other people's luck as well, Monique would like to know what would top the pangolin sighting for me. Well, Monique, I have been fortunate enough to see pangolin before. There is an animal that I haven't yet seen, and it's become one of those weird things. It's like I have some kind of aardvark repellent about me. So I have been on an aardvark capture. I have worked in the Kalahari Desert, where the aardvark sightings are apparently abound. They are famous. I have driven past aardvark and been busy rummaging in the side of the car and missed it. I have just somehow never seen an aardvark. I have to say, if I had to pick a sighting, I mean an aardvark in the wild, I have actually seen a real live aardvark, but I think if I had to take a sighting that I would really like to see and I would really like to be able to share with all of you, it would probably be an aardvark sighting.
Now, a little bit more focus on the Kruger. The Kruger is an incredible piece of land. So the Kruger National